another, can you change that, or when it goes live, or do you have control of that? Guess we're rolling. We're on.
Very good.
I apologize. I haven't figured out exactly that part yet. This is only my second time going live, so.
We're
All
live.
right, so do we know what the delay is?
It's about 15 seconds, I think.
Okay. All right, for all those that are watching on the YouTube channel, we're just going to give a moment to see if we get a couple more of our commission members before we start, but we will be starting very shortly. Okay, Linda, are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay. Good morning, and I would like to call this meeting of the Ohio Small Government Capital Improvement Commission to order. This meeting is being held via Zoom, July 23rd, 2020, 10 a.m. I would like to welcome everybody that is on the Zoom meeting for the commission members, and welcome everyone to our YouTube channel so that this can be broadcast live. We will start today with roll call.
Commissioner Alonso?
Here.
Commissioner Bobovnik? Commissioner Dietrich?
Present.
Commissioner Dotson?
Here.
Commissioner Klein?
Here.
Commissioner Martin?
Here.
Chairman Zimmerman?
Present.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Very good. Thank you. We would like to start then with introductions. And if I'm not sure the best order in which to do that. Does everyone have a listing of the commission members? Maybe we'll just go right down that list if everyone has that, just so everyone's not jumping over each other. My name is Mark Zimmerman. I am the Seneca County Engineer and current chair of the Small Governments Commission representing townships.
I think we have some feedback.
So I don't have my list. Whenever somebody gets ready, I'll accept, tell them who I am.
You can go ahead, Dale.
Okay, Dale Dietrich, Benton Township, Monroe County, Ohio, representing a small government from District 18 at Buckeye Hills, Marietta.
Matthew?
I'm Matt Klein, Municipal Manager of West Milton, representing District 11.
Travis?
Travis Dotson. I am Village Administrator for the Village of Bethel in Claremont County, representing District 10.
Sam?
Up there. Sam Alonso, Mayor Reminderville, representing District 8.
Joe?
Joe Martin, Township Trustee for Brown Township, Franklin County, representing District 3.
And that's everybody, right? That is in attendance. We are missing one commission member, Fred Bobniak. Hopefully I said that properly. Fiscal Officer of Weathersfield Township, representing District 6. We also have several non-voting members of the commission. If you would please introduce yourselves.
Ken Heigel with the Ohio Water Development Authority.
Morning, this is Jerry Rao. I'm Chief of the Division of Environmental and Financial Assistance at Ohio EPA, and I am representing Ohio EPA.
Awesome.
Good morning. My name is Andrea Stevenson. I'm with the Office of Local Programs for the Ohio Department of Transportation.
Very good. Thank you all very much. I thought we would look at going through an orders of the day, just so everybody understands what we're going to be doing through the meeting and the manner in which the meeting would be conducted. We will start with the approval of the minutes from the prior meeting, vote for officers, the OPWC update, round 34 administrators recommendations, round 35 proposed methodology changes, public comment, and then the establishment of the next meeting date before we adjourn. A couple of things for those of you joining us on our YouTube. The chat is always open, and those chats will be directed to our director, Linda Bailiff. So while it is open at all times, we are encouraging public comment. And even if that public comment comes at a time when generally the commission members are the ones that would be talking and discussing, we would like to open that if someone has comment or chat that is relevant to the discussion at hand. So if it is relevant, the director, Linda, will have that chat brought forward. If the chat is more general in nature, it will be held in the queue until we have our public comment sections. Another note, when we get to the round 34 administrators recommendations, that spreadsheet will be posted on the small government's website under project slates. So generally the same location that you found this YouTube channel and found the link to view us today is where you will find the link to the spreadsheet. So if there are any questions about the orders of the day, please let us know. And of course, for all of the voting members and the non-voting members, there's no need to try to log into a chat. You have full access, of course, we do, for discussions about any topic at any time during this meeting. So with that, Linda, did I cover all the housekeeping issues?
Yes, and I would just like to mention that Commissioner Bob Bobnick, I believe, has joined us.
Oh,
Yes.
welcome,
Okay.
Commissioner.
I'm not on the screen. I don't know why, but I'm here.
Very good. Well, welcome. Thank you. That makes us a complete attendance for today. That's really good. So the minutes for the July 18th, 2019 meeting were sent under cover for all of the commission members. Did everyone have a chance to review them?
I'd like to make a motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
It's been probably moved and seconded to recommend, because we do not have a majority of commission members on the commission right now that were here during that meeting. I think we will just approve those via general consent, if that is okay. Just sheer numbers dictate that a vote may not be relevant just because there weren't enough people in attendance here that were there. But are there any additions or corrections? If not, they will stand approved as read and as sent. So thank you very much for that. We will move on to our next topic, which is the vote for officers. I have served as your chairperson for a number of years. I have thoroughly enjoyed serving as chairperson of the Small Government Commission. But as in every year, if it is the will of the commission, or if someone has a desire to stand as the chair, I would certainly entertain that and certainly would want that to be brought forward. So are there any nominations for chair? Linda, do you want to do both of them together, chair and vice chair, or do it separately?
I'll leave that up to the body.
Oh, okay, we'll just do them separately. So are there any recommendations or nominations for chairperson?
I move that we retain Mark Zimmerman as the chairman of our committee.
I'll second that.
Any other nominations? If not, nominations are closed.
Move the nominations be closed.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Thank you. I am honored to serve on this commission, and I hopefully will represent you and represent our constituents to my best ability. So thank you very much. We also have an opening for the vice chairmanship vice chairmanship of the commission. We lost our, not lost, just went off the commission. So we do have a need for a vice chairperson. Are there any nominations?
I'll nominate Sam Alonso as vice chair.
I'll second.
Sam, do you accept?
I accept.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Are there any further nominations?
Move to
If
close.
not, is there a motion to close nominations?
So move.
Is there a second? It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. And thank you, Sam, for serving. So the officers are Mark Zimmerman and Sam Alonso as chair and vice chair for the upcoming year for the Small Governments Commission. Thank you very much. So we will move into the Ohio Public Works Commission update. Linda, if you would please give your knowledge.
All right, my knowledge I will share. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and welcome back. I just want to take a little time on the agenda to say where we are, what we're doing, and where we're going, both in terms of our office and in terms of the budget. So with the onset of the pandemic, as of March 16th, all of our staff have been home. As you can tell, this is not my office. So we are home, and we're home for the foreseeable future. So teleworking, of course, has had its challenges, but it's also worked amazingly well. I am honestly surprised at how well it has worked. I think that shows in the strength of our team. How well we've done. Our biggest challenge has been with communications. You cannot do enough with communicating. So we started out with not knowing with this onset of the pandemic that we were going to hit a situation with the budget. And that quickly became transparent, and we were communicating that on our website, keeping our website current. We have a newsletter, and we were communicating through our newsletter whenever we had updates or changes. But I am happy to say that we now have funding in place, and I will explain that. So, of course, with small government, we are a set aside, a 10% set aside from the state capital improvement program, which is our bond program. When it was apparent that we were not going to have a capital bill due to the uncertainty of the economy, we thought maybe that was it for our year. And we had already selected, not small government, but our districts had already selected the projects for this past fiscal year, this past round. And why that is because when you have an annual program and you have biennial legislation, you are always going to be every other year, you're going to be a year ahead, so to speak, of that funding, which is why we always tell folks that our funding, our programs, our project agreements are subject to appropriation. So we're not funded from the local transportation improvement program. That's our other infrastructure source, but that is the transportation bill runs in opposing biennial years as opposed to the capital bill. So those projects were taken care of, but the capital bill, of course, being absent, was not. Therefore, we didn't have funding. I communicated that to all of you, communicated that to our customers, and so that's why we had to delay our May meeting. Very late night on a Thursday, I think it was the second Thursday in June, we were shocked to hear, pleasantly surprised, that there was a move in the House to amend a bill, Senate Bill 4, to add 1 year's appropriation for the state capital improvement program, the revolving loan program, and for our Clean Ohio program. In that bill, the Facilities Commission also received 1 year's worth of allocation. It spoke a lot about this program, a tremendous amount about the entire team, the districts, the integrating committees, and what work this collective group of over 550 people do every year. That then went on into the Senate. That got approved by the Senate, and then it in turn was signed by the governor just not that long ago, a few days ago, and therefore enacted that appropriation authority. So as soon as we knew, then of course I said, okay, let's go forward with this meeting. We have good news to share. So I'm very happy to see all of you here today, that we can give this good news to our applicants. The capital bill, of course, this only takes care of this round this year. In a biennial budget bill, typically we would have had round 34 and round 35. That's of course what we requested of the General Assembly. So round 35 is still outstanding. We're aware of various discussions of a potential capital bill, yet maybe this fall, later this year, maybe after with the new calendar year. Both the CFO and I were not too concerned about the lack of a capital bill by the time we need one, but I just want to make everyone aware that we do not have one at this time. And again, why we say subject to appropriation. Now, there is good news to that, of course. When we do have a capital bill, you might all recall that with the last renewal of the state capital improvement program, it's always a 10-year renewal, that the first 5 years was approved for an increase up from 150 to 175. We are in the last year of that. So this next year, we're going to be at increase to 200 million. So we'll be starting the second 5-year period of that 10-year renewal with that increase at 200 million. So that means that next time we're sitting down, we're looking at a $20 million allocation for this program. So that's very fortunate for all of us to have more funding for these local governments, these villages and rural townships under 5,000. So that's very good news, since we get 10% off the top of the SCIP allocation before distribution to the 19 districts. One other thing I wanted to mention is the portal project. I think most folks know that when I, in my other hat, administrator and director, that when I came on board a year ago, that we initiated the portal project to get in line with current technology, to also reduce our environmental footprint, to increase accessibility to the public, and have a portal, a web portal, which everybody can use from the very onset and to completion of their project. So putting in your project applications through the portal, your project agreements, the disbursement requests, get paid your loan repayments. In fact, we're going to actually be able to institute our loan repayments through the portal using software called CBOS yet this year. Our loan repayment cycle at the end of this year, we'll be able to make that go live for the very first time. So we're making progress. We're very excited. Both infrastructure and Clean Ohio will be through the portal. So this will be the last year that statewide will be on a paper process. And then we're going to be encouraging folks, if they have the availability, the internet availability, the broadband, the reliability, the accessibility, to use the portal. And that will help all of us have greater access and accessibility to information. So I wanted to make you aware of that and looking forward to it. That was it for my update.
Fantastic. And I think it's important to note too that the passage of the capital bill was not done in a vacuum. That required a great deal of effort from Linda and her team. So I think we all need to make sure that we realize how hard the team is working behind the scenes to make sure that our program is successful and available. So I do want to put out a special thank you, Linda, to you and to share with your team for all the work that I know that you did in helping get that capital bill passed. So thank you very much. So any questions from anyone regarding what Linda had discussed?
Nope.
Okay, a lot of great things coming to the commission. You know, both ours and the larger pot, not only with more funding, but also with the portal. So a lot of great things forward. The next thing we will do is move on to the round 34 administrators recommendations. Remember, for those of you on the YouTube channel or those that may not have it, that is going to be shared on the Small Government Commission's webpage under the Project Slates tab. One thing I wanted to discuss, the big change we had for round 34 was the effort and affordability calculations that we were doing with our water and wastewater projects. For those that were involved, no, but those that may be newer to the commission or newer to the process, we changed our affordability criteria to address basically the working poor that are in these communities and have a better cross section than we did before about how the affordability of water and sewer rates compared with the not only the working poor, but the entire cross section of income across the community. It affects how much they have to pay for their water and wastewater compared to the state of Ohio. So with the exception of the fact that the location of the data has changed, which isn't a big deal, a little harder to find, but it's still readily available. I think that the changes as we reviewed them this year were extremely positive. I think we really showed and detailed through that methodology that those that are paying higher rates with lower incomes were prioritized with a couple of more points than they would have ordinarily got. And those communities that may have had a higher distribution of income that pay lesser rates may have been deducted a couple of points where they have been, which is, you know, what we were looking for as far as that affordability criteria. So if there are any questions about that, we'd be happy to discuss. We talked about putting that up on the webpage, but it's rather large in what it is, and we feared that it would fill up the screen with more data than was available to discuss. So, but we certainly can if any of the commission members want. So I will turn it over to Linda again to discuss the round 34 administrators recommendations.
Great, thank you. It was an interesting process this year. I had a lot of paper, I had a lot of things electronically. We were sent home in the middle of the process, of the cure process. So it added a whole new challenge this year, but got through it beautifully. with I think our applicants were very considerate, so I appreciate that. What I have before you, what I'm recommending to you is a total package thanks to the funding sources that we have. So we have a total of 23.43 million available to us, and I used almost every single penny. In fact, I even went a little bit into the red to get everybody funded that I could. But we have, of course, we had our $17.5 million allocation with 1.1 million carryover. We also have about 3.68 in RLP with carryover, the revolving loan program. And thank you to generosity of districts with RLP balances with small government applications. We have another 1.1 million, and that was contributed by districts 5, 16, and 17. What new members may not be aware of is since we're at the very end of the process of the district process, if districts are unable to use all of their revolving loan program funds, and I can see that they may have small government applications that may be recommended for scoring. Or for funding, that we ask them if they can make or are willing to make any balances available to our program for any grant loan combinations. So small government picks up the grant, and then the district picks up the RLP, and that allows us to fund more projects and benefit the whole program. So we're very grateful to districts 5, 16, and 17 for making those contributions to us. We initially reviewed 80 applications, and of those, 5 ended up being funded by the district. District 3, which is Franklin County, I had all of those scored, ready to go. They were in the whole spreadsheet where they were going to fall by score. And at the very last minute in June, one of the district projects fell through, which allowed them to pick up all 4 of their small government candidates, which allowed us to move more on down the list. We also had a couple of districts that, of course, did not even have candidates from the get-go, District 12 and 19, I believe. Then we had a couple that were withdrawn by the applicant. So what I am recommending to you is a slate of 66 projects. As you see, there is a line drawn on that spreadsheet. I'm recommending everything above that line based on available funding, and what we do not have the funding for at this time is below that line. We are not that far away from funding that first project below the line, and of course we have to set up the cutoff date for next round of when we're going to stop funding contingencies. So remind me to come back to that, Mr. Chairman. But we're going to, I think we'll be able to fund that one before we're cut off. So you're going to have to you're going to have to tell me what you want that cutoff to be. I think we'll be able to get to that one if maybe not moving on down the line. So you'll notice that that line is drawn right between 2 projects that score 48 points. So our tie-breaking policy is detailed in the applicant manual. I applied that. And so they are arranged according to that tie-breaking policy that you previously put forward. When we got through the process you might recall that toward the end of the process, once I've got all the draft scores put together, I sent emails out to all of the applicants, giving them their draft scores and giving them an opportunity to refute if they are not in agreement with the administrator's score. And I have to say that every year, we just have very few folks to refute. And to me, I had less than a handful this year. And I think that speaks very well of the commission's work regarding this methodology. It is objective. It is clear, it is meant so that anybody can sit down and score that application and come to the same conclusion that I have. So that speaks very well of the work that this body has done historically. And I'm very proud of that. So thank you very much for giving me a methodology that is very easy to work with. So with that, you have the recommendations before you, and today I ask for your approval.
Thank you, Linda. Are there any questions regarding the round 34 recommendations?
No, motion to pass.
I'll second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Linda, do we have any chats relevant to that discussion?
No, I don't have anything.
Very good. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Oh, I'm sorry.
Aye.
I'm sorry, Joe, did you have comment?
I just said, keep in mind, there's a 15-second delay.
Oh,
There is, and I will mention that the only comment I have is that the individual, Will, who's administering this for us today, our staff member, he said he received an email saying people have been unable to comment, and he's asking them to reload YouTube to see if that works. If not, to email him. So I'm going to skip on over to my email to see if he's got anything there to report. Will, if you want to comment.
No, ma'am, we've not received any emails currently on that. And when I sent the test through, it seemed to work earlier. So I'm wondering if it's more of an individual thing. So I have not received any emails since that message went out.
Okay, all right.
Linda, I would just like to comment that I'm not seeing anything. I see you, but I don't see the layout that's supposed to be on the screen.
So we are live streaming to YouTube.
Okay.
So I actually have two laptops up, so I can watch. That's why I keep turning away from the camera. So yeah, so we posted a YouTube link on our small government webpage to give the public access to be in compliance with the Open Meetings Act. And we gave them the chat ability to chat. We enabled chat, and it's worked for us before. So again, Will on our staff has asked them to, if they're having issues, that they may email him. And so I'm trying to watch that too. And of course, Will interject if I'm not catching a comment that's been emailed to you. So he's given them another opportunity on how to reach us. He gave them his email address on YouTube.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Will.
okay. So I don't believe we have received any comments. If we do, we can certainly talk about those, but we do have a motion on the floor. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor of the administrator's recommendations for round 34 signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Linda. I think we have an extremely strong program for round 34.
Thank you.
So as we do every year, we try to make our methodology and our program as strong as we possibly can. And so we do have some recommendations, very few actually, for some proposed methodology changes. So I think Will is going to put that on the channel. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll kind of turn that over to Linda. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I had very few recommendations this year, as I just stated. Things are going really, really well. I've been serving this body for 12 years, and we've come a really long way We've, have had change in membership over the years, but the first year I was with the Small Government Commission, it was, we needed an overhaul, and we've been working away at that ever since. And again, I'm very pleased to serve a commission that has a fantastic objective, clear methodology that works really well. So I come forward to you with recommendations every year based on the experience that I just went through. Do we need to tweak? And of course, we get feedback when people do refute their scores, or when people are asking questions about, how to score something or why something is scored a particular way. That helps with formation of my recommendations to you. So our applicants are actually pretty, are part of why we, or how we got where we are today. They've played a great role in that. So the first one is, as you can see by the list that you just approved, we got through most of that list. That doesn't happen every year. It's happened 1 or 2 times before in the 12 years that I've been that administrator. You never know what you're going to get until I get to that final moment where I'm doing calculations and drawing that line. When I saw that we were almost to the end, and I was discussing this with our chairman, I surveyed our districts to see how many more applications we never saw, because sometimes I know from a district, sometimes I don't, just based on their slate to our program representatives. So I checked in with them, and it was mostly applied to the large multi-county districts, anywhere from 10 to 20 that were never sent. We ask for 5 plus 2. The first 5 we score, the other 2 we hold for if an application has been withdrawn, if it's determined ineligible, or if we needed to retain program competitiveness, which has never happened. But again, this year, I came to you recommending almost everything on that list. So that's why, in speaking with the chairman, I went back to our districts and said, so what didn't we get? And quite a few were in that upper range of 15 to 20 of those who said, this is what you didn't get from us. So taking a look at that and knowing that this year could be an anomaly, and keeping in mind that one of those projects that didn't get funded is over a $3 million ask. Next year, as I pointed out, we're going to have more money. Districts are also going to have more money. So we really can't foresee what's going to happen next year, but I still want to make sure that we have a competitive program when you see how many folks don't even get to the table to be able to apply. So what I am recommending is that we stick with 7, but with the 7, we no longer have the 2 contingencies. So we have, they'll still proceed in submitting 7, but all 7 will be scored. But items 6 and 7 will not receive district points under the criterion that gives district points. You might recall we have a criterion that we automatically give scores for how the district has ranked, has submitted their small government submissions, and districts are in charge of saying, of our top 5, this is our 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and then we apply points accordingly to their recommendations. So 6 and 7 under this new recommendation would not receive those points. So we're still putting the emphasis on a district's top 5 small government submittals, but unlike the previous years, we would score 6 and 7. So there's no pulling in a contingency if someone withdraws. Someone withdraws, somebody's ineligible, it's what it is. We're just working with a smaller list of submissions, but we are scoring all of those. So because our program was still competitive, there were some contingency projects you're not seeing because our rules did not permit me to go ahead and score those few projects that are back at the office. So I wanted to put that suggestion on the table. With that, considering we would score all 7 of those submittals, there's no need anymore for that first step in the process, which is the intent to apply. That has been what we adopted a few years ago as a 1-week period to say, okay, we got your application from your district. Do you know that? And do you want to go forward with small government? Because we were finding we were getting these folks in the queue, and they either were not aware or they were no longer interested, and we didn't know that. So we wanted to know that if you were at the table, that you did want to compete for those funds, to give everybody else a chance behind you. So there would be no more need for that step. So what you see in front of you is page 2 of the applicant manual. I've highlighted all the changes, and there are a lot of strike throughs on there. And really what those strike throughs are is just saying, we are going to give the top 5 district priority points, and only those top 5 that we are, so we're going ahead and going to have all 7 under consideration and no longer have the intent to apply process. So that is the first change that I am recommending. I did not know if you want to discuss these one by one, or if you want me to go on with the others.
Yeah, I think there are only a few things we're going to be discussing, so why don't we just do them one at a time and make sure everyone, especially the newer commission members, maybe that they firmly understand what changes we're making, why we make these changes.
Terrific,
So,
no problem. The second thing you'll see near the bottom of page 2, it's the second paragraph to the end. I just wanted to remind everybody that we do not permit scope changes. I do see that from time to time, and we do have to stick by what was approved at the district level. It, of course, is unfair to the other applicants at the district level who wish to go forward to compete for small government submission. So we want those applications as they were approved by the district. Again, in all fairness to the larger group of applicants. So that's what you see there. Before I forget, I just wanted to mention, I'm not throwing up on the screen the methodology. There are no changes in the methodology except for dates to reflect dates for the next year. And what you see here is the same thing, are those date changes, those revisions. The next thing, Will, if you want to move to the bottom of page 3, this is a recommendation. When we have, sometimes we have applications that are for joint, more than one jurisdiction, and they apply, of course, under a lead applicant. And we see these primarily with townships will get together for maybe paving projects, or usually, I think that's pretty typical. And we'll have maybe 2 or 3 of those a year. And so we developed a few years ago, we said we need to point out how we're going to score certain criteria when we have these multiple jurisdictions. How do we score certain criteria? And you can see on the bottom of page 3 that there are 4 criteria that we targeted, that we have to account for information for all of those jurisdictions for those projects: ability and effort, age, condition, population, and MHI. This year, I heard from a couple of folks, one being a county engineer representing an application, being their project manager, as well as one of our district liaisons. Both pointed out, I've got a question, or I've got a suggestion about MHI. So I'm going to turn that over to our chairman.
Thanks, Linda. So if we're remembering, the rules or the law specifically states things that we're required to do in our methodology for the Ohio Public Works Commission program. One of those is specifically addressing a community's economic health. And whether you like it or not, the best metric available to us for measuring a community's economic health is a standard that was established as MHI, or the median household income. Understanding that that income is the income by which exactly 50% of the people or less, exactly 50% of the people in the community make more than that. It is not an average of their incomes. It is just the exact middle number of the incomes that are in that community. So what we have been doing up until this time is a simple average for those communities that have multiple jurisdictional applications. Sometimes that works towards a community's favor. Sometimes it does not work towards the community's favor, depending upon if the lead applicant is the higher or the lower of the median household incomes. But in reviewing it and reviewing the various manners by which we could measure the metric of a community's economic health, we determined the best way to do that is to work still with the median household income. It is the accepted standard for economic health of a community. And then relate that as a weighted average based on the number of households rather than just a simple average of the two communities. This is very similar. It's actually the exact same process by which we changed, I think last year or maybe 2 years ago, the way we deal with the available resources of a community to do a weighted average. And what we're trying to do is make sure that the program and that this metric, this criteria, is representing the communities as best as we can. So there was talk about the possibility of getting away from MHI altogether. That was kind of vetoed once we review the law again and ensure that we have to make sure we account for a community's economic health. And then we deal with the issue, how do we weight this? Where do we weight this? Do we deal with contributions? Do we deal with households? Do we deal with populations? Knowing and understanding that median household income is not a metric that is based upon population. It is not a metric that is based on the number of households. Or really the cross-section of the income levels of families or communities. But being that it is a household income, the director and I, Linda and I had talked at length back and forth, email after email, making recommendations to each other, and kind of settled on weighted average based on the median household income of a community based on the number of households. It takes the income, it takes the number of households, and gives us a good cross section of where we stand or where those two communities stand together. So what we are looking at and what we are doing, call this the Linkus Amendment. Basically, this is one of the ones that we were addressing this year with this joint project with Marion Township and the Village of Blanchester, and how the incomes were different and the number of households. And we look at the weighted MHI in this scenario being $47,308.98 compared to the Ohio median household income of $54,533.00. I think the manner in which we were weighing this or doing a simple average before put that at 4 points or maybe at 6 points, but there was certainly a point differential. So our recommendation, I guess that was a long explanation for our recommendation to Not necessarily change the criteria, but change the manner in which we apply the criteria to use a weighted MHI based on households for multi-jurisdictional applications. Of course, single applications would still stay the exact same, where we would just use their MHI. So if there are any questions regarding what I was saying, or Linda, did I cover that well enough, do you think?
I think it's enough.
Okay, for too much? Okay, we could probably take that down. Thank you. Are there any questions or comments regarding that? Okay. Thank you very much. I'll turn it back over to Linda.
The only other item I have on there is, and I think you'll see this on the bottom of pages 4 and 5, but what we did was we just removed the references to American Fact Finder under ability and effort. And the reason being is we no sooner got started within this process, and I'm trying to remember when we were notified when they were getting away from that, but that the Census Bureau was getting a rid for the American Fact Finder, but I want to say it was in March.
Yeah, I think March.
Yeah, we were still in the process of cure when we got notice that this was going away. So I had to pull information very quickly for that spreadsheet that you received that shows the scores, how a project would have scored under the old criteria for ability and effort, because we were going to lose that information the way it had been posted. So this, this recommendation just removes American Fact Finder and just uses data.census.gov, where we will be getting that information from in the future. So it's just a fix is what that one is. What I do not have in writing, that was it for the recommendations, but I had a meeting with our districts yesterday because normally what our districts get every year, they get our written guidance and our allocations. And because we've not seen them, we thought it would be a good idea just to have a live chat with them to talk about where things are and how we got where we are, what happened with the budget situation. And in that, we gave them guidance. And I neglected to tell them this, even though the chairman and I had talked about it previously. So I will be putting this in our written guidance to our districts. But I had a issue this year that I was struggling with in scoring the health of the project, the health and safety aspect. And when I was talking about it with our chairman, we didn't have line item detail. We had lump sum. And we find that this happens far too often. Our instructions are very explicit. Your engineer's estimate must have line item detail. And I know that our staff, when they get the approved applications from the districts, that this is sometimes something that they're struggling with. They're contacting the applicant and saying, we do not have line item detail. So I will be reminding our districts when I send them our written guidance, make sure you're checking for that. We don't want a lump sum estimate. We want line item. We all have to know what we're reviewing for approval and what we are assessing. So that's not in writing. Of course, we already have that in writing in our instructions, but it will be a reminder to our districts to check for that. That is all I have for recommendations. I don't know if there are any questions or any concerns, but I'm willing to entertain anything.
Mr. Chairman?
Mr. Chairman.
It's really not about the methodology. I completely agree with everything that's being recommended. And this may not be the area or the time to throw this out. I think it's a bigger question than just our commission. Probably really goes to all of OPWC. But I'd like to plant the seed for a year-long discussion, 2 years, however long it's going to take, for the consideration of expanding the definition of infrastructure to include or to consider the inclusion of municipal broadband. or broadband in general. I think it's especially in Southeast Ohio, where there are large percentages of not going to be able to even use the portal at OPWC, just because of the lack of broadband ability to or to be on the internet. So I'm not asking for any decisions. Obviously, this is a huge topic, but I didn't know where to start this seed planting of a long discussion of how we would be able to do that, or should it be included. There are many cities in Ohio that have their own broadband, but even inside those cities, we know that there are, especially when you're being serviced by private companies, that there are digital red line districts or digital red lines within communities or within townships or within counties that just simply aren't being served. I think we talk about the vitality and the health economically of all of our communities, and we are in the 21st century, so let's include, or let's at least start the discussion of trying to include broadband as part of infrastructure. It's just as important, especially with COVID, and I'm just on our district alone, our school district alone, 15, pushing 20% of our kids don't have internet access. So how are they going to, if this continues and they can't physically go to school, how are they going to be educated? So and again, I'm not trying to start a debate today. It's just, I don't know where to plant that seed. So I thought, the methodology talks about points for water, points for sewer, points for bridges, points for roads. I know this is a larger discussion than just small government commission. It needs to go to the whole board, but I would just like to put it out there that I'd like to be part of that discussion, or I'd like to see a lot smarter people than me in the room considering broadband as part of infrastructure.
Right. So Linda, isn't that, hasn't that is not a new topic, right, for OPWC? And actually, isn't broadband included in some definitions of infrastructure already through OPWC? It has not been popular through districts, but I think, isn't there some legislation that defines something with, if memory serves me, 8-10 years ago?
Yeah, right. Yes, correct. So the eligible infrastructure that we can participate in is all legally defined. And it is defined, of course, as water, wastewater, stormwater, roads and bridges. So that's legally defined. It does not include broadband. So that's a discussion that goes much above and beyond us, that would have to be taken to the General Assembly. We were approached a few years ago. There was a proposal to include broadband in our categories, in our funding categories, that did not go anywhere at that time. Again, that was several years ago. But the interest was there because the legislative members who were proposing it like our structure. They like our model, our delivery model. That's why there was interest in doing that. There, I think you are aware, in fact, Commissioner Klein, you even got me in touch with somebody regarding access. And I had had, before we were sent home, I did have conversations with 2 or 3 different individuals about broadband, and I expressed that we have a tremendous interest in expanding accessibility, reliability of broadband, and that we do make a good partner because of just when you are already funding projects that have a trench approach for lines for water and sewer. You've already got something there to work with for access for the cable, so why not? And I know that Jerry and Ken can probably both speak to this. I think that we had the conversation, last July, I think, or even sooner, earlier in last summer, that we had a conversation. I think, Jerry, somebody approached you and we had a conference call about that issue.
Yeah, that is correct. Just to kind of echo Matt's comments, I mean, without pushing the discussion in any particular direction, but it is a fact that there's some large chunk of Ohio without broadband, and it's definitely something that is desperately needed. This question was brought to a bunch of the funders, Public Works, the state SRF programs, the OWDA, USDA Rural Development, and the general thought was just what Linda said, was if you're doing infrastructure projects, water or sewer projects, and if maybe there's an opportunity to put cable down or to provide a conduit for future cable. So that is something that, I don't know that the funders really got very far with that discussion, but it is something that there seems to be a notion that, that we might be able to do something more with that. That's really about as far as we got with that discussion. It was about a year or so ago, Linda.
And also to note that there has been legislation that's been introduced, which I've been tracking. I have been following it. For your information, it is House Bill 13 that's currently going through the General Assembly. And what that legislation proposes is it creates the Ohio Residential Broadband Expansion Grant Program within the Department of Commerce, and also provides for an appropriation. So I'm watching that to see where it goes. It is a House bill, it's House Bill 13. It's been passed by the House. Again, we'll keep an eye on that activity. But I have had a couple of legislators even reach out to me in the past few months, even asking about our interest or our potential involvement. Are we involved in broadband? So the conversation is there. I have offered our assistance in any way possible. So we'll see where this conversation goes, but I appreciate you bringing it up, and we'll keep an eye on it and continue this dialogue and be of help if we can be.
Well, thank you.
And if it is.
Sorry, Mark.
Sorry. Nope, you go ahead.
I just wanted to say thank you to Linda. And if there's anything as commissioners we could do to be part of the discussion, I'd be more than happy to be. Just let me know.
Right, thank you.
I would think that, like so many things, if you want them to go anywhere at the State House, starting with a white paper, maybe a one-pager, that we can address at the commission, that then can go on to our representatives. If somebody were willing to start a white paper, just a one-pager detailing where we are, where we want to be, and how we're going to get there, then that would go far. So that if the commission were to pick this issue up, we'll certainly pick it up. But if the commission were in favor of going forward with a recommendation, that at least our voice could be heard with the paper that we present as kind of a unified front to those making a decision on what infrastructure means. So, and that's something that, you put together and have, we send it around various places so they can review it. But I think the more you can put down in paper, short, one pager, the better off we would have in getting that done. So thanks for that, those comments. Any other comments regarding the methodology changes for round 35?
I move to approve the recommendations.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Linda, did we get any discussion on our chat or on the email?
No, we must be doing a great job.
Awesome. And I think there has been adequate time, I mean, since they were presented, for anyone that wanted to. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay.
Aye.
Motion passes. Was there a nay?
No, it was a late A. Aye.
Ah, very good. Okay, thank you. Well, one, I just want to make sure we addressed it. One would still, it would still pass, but I just want to make sure we were addressing everybody's concerns. So, so the round 35 methodology proposed changes have been approved. I assume that those will be put up on our website as soon as they're able to be so. So anyone listening on the YouTube channel, please recognize that those changes will be addressed and will be on the methodology changes or on the applicant's manual changes for the round 35 Small Government Commission program. So at this time, that somewhat concludes the business portion of our, yes, sorry.
I still need a cutoff.
Yep.
I still need a cutoff for how long you want me to keep the contingency list open.
Oh. Any
So
thoughts?
so historically, we've left it open. Most years we left it open, I think, until November 1st, and somebody else who's been around can correct me if I'm wrong. And then last year we moved it up. I think last year we moved it up. I want to say, was it October 1st?
Yeah, I think we did do it October 1st, so people knew if they should be reapplying.
Yes, yes. We did because of the lack of the uncertainty of funding for this next round and everything we were waiting for. We just, met with our district chairs and liaisons yesterday. We just officially kicked off this next round. So that was a little bit of a delay. So we asked them, normally we've asked them for their slates by the end of February. We gave them till the end of March. I don't know when we're going to start seeing slates roll in, just because everything's been delayed a little bit. But I don't want that to affect your decision and how long you want to leave this open. So just sometime this fall.
I mean, because of the delays that we've experienced, does it just make sense to maybe split the baby down the middle and go from October 1st to October 15th or something like that?
Yeah, it's whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah, so I think that's a good idea. So if we look at Friday, the 16th of October would be the last Friday, or that middle week Friday. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah.
That sounds good to me. I'll move for October 16th.
All right,
Second.
so there's a motion on the floor to keep applicants open until October 16th, 2020. Close the business. Is there a second, or was there a second?
Second.
Seconded. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you. So that concludes our business portion, I think. Yes?
We need to schedule next meeting.
Yes. Yeah, we'll do that. I just didn't know if we want
Okay.
to do public comment first.
Okay, yes, so far, no public comment.
Oh, wow. Okay. Is there any comment, general nature for the commission or any of our ex officio members? Oh, okay, so the next thing on our agenda then is to establish our next meeting date. So Linda, do you have any recommendations or?
Well, historically, we have met on that first Thursday of May,
In May.
but yesterday I just told the districts they have another month. So I've created a lot of pain for myself next year. Let's put it that way.
Better thee than me.
I seem to love punishment, I tell you. So
Do we want to look at June 4th?
Well, I will have to say, even with that, I was very hopeful based on the past that you would support my recommendations today, and I am just ready to go out the door. I did not want our small government applicants to have to wait any longer since they already had to wait. So I have everything locked and loaded for them. The agreements will be dated August 1st. So I just did not want any more delay. So I know it's doable. It's a heck of a lot of work in a short, long time and long nights, but it's doable. So if you want to, I'm kind of afraid to move it all the way into June. That's really pushing it for me. But maybe May 27th. Well, but I do not have the intent to apply anymore. We gained a week there.
That's a whole week.
That's a whole week. We got a gift. I don't know. The 20th or the 27th. I'm going to leave it up to you. I guess one of trying anyway.
Yeah, one date's going to short you on the side of being able to get things scored and getting information. The other one on getting things out the door to the applicants. In my personal.
Yeah, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'm also scoring more applications.
Yeah, a lot more. And we've got the portal to make sure that everything goes as we hope it's going to go. I mean, I guess I would rather give you more time and maybe shoot for the 27th of May.
Okay.
Which should actually add 4 weeks to your schedule. When we take that intent to apply week out. We should address all of the lateness that we have for all of the rounds or all the applicants coming into all the districts. So maybe May 27th, 2021, 10 o'clock at the commission office. Is that for now? Hopefully we'll be out of this by now, but we'll plan that. If not, we'll do another Zoom. So
Sounds good.
all right. Do we need a motion for that, Linda?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It's up to you. I don't know the rules.
That's fine. But if we could maybe send a reminder out to everybody with the meeting minutes that you send out. Well, it'll be in the meeting minutes. So everyone, I think, just make sure you mark your 2021 calendars. That it is a change of date than what we normally have. So, all right. Anything else for the good of the commission? Any other public comment?
I would just like to add that I thank you, new members, for being here. Our former existing members, our new members. We were really limping along, both with the. You are, of course, appointed by the Ohio Public Works Commission, and we lost our quorum with them earlier this year, and they're appointed by the legislature, and we were down on Small Government Commission, and so everything got worked out in time, and I'm just so pleased that not only do we have a full body, but that you could all join us here today. You make this happen, and it again is your work and your effort that gives us such a fantastic methodology to work for, and that helps so many communities. So I am very grateful for that. And in today's age, we need to say thank you more often and acknowledge those who are so supportive. So I just wanted to share my appreciation with all of you. Thank you.
Linda, thank you for all you do.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
Very much.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. With no further business, is there a motion to adjourn?
So made.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Yes. Second.
Is there probably moved in second? Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay.
Aye.
We stand adjourned. Thank you all very much for your attendance today.
Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Thanks.
Well done, everyone.
Aye.